In my last video, I took you through a day in the life of a world schooling mum. If you saw that video, you still might not really fully understand what world schooling is though, because that was just a snippet of my full day. So in this video, I thought I'd delve a little bit deeper into what actually world schooling is. So no walk and talk today. I'm here in this beautiful garden. It's right in our complex where we are, and we're only here for another week, so I thought I would do a video here today. So what is world schooling? It's basically learning through travel and real life. It's not replicating school. Learning as you go, basically. And it looks different for everyone. So this is just my take on it, or our take on it as a family. Before we go any further, I need to let you know that our history of how we got here, because we didn't pull our kids out of school to do this, to go world schooling. We already home educated our kids, and we have been for the last 4 years or so. Why? Why did we do that? Why did we decide to home educate? Because we thought there was another way to teach our kids, and that there was other things to teach them that weren't being taught at school. That's it in a nutshell. Another way to teach and other things to teach. Where we can, we are child-led. So we'll ask the girls, what is it you want to do today? And we'll facilitate that. That's best case scenario. If you've seen that video, the day in the life, it didn't go to plan. And it's acceptance around that, right? So child-led, they come to you, they say what they want to do, you facilitate that. It might be projects, it might be researching something on the internet, it might be doing a presentation or something. I mean, that was one of the very early things that Jasmine did. So Jasmine's my eldest 9 and Sage is my youngest 5. And Jasmine loves dinosaurs, and she did a presentation on dinosaurs when when we very first did this, so she was 5. So there's many ways of doing this. Some people actually unschool, fully unschool. And when you think of world schooling, that's probably where that would fall into. Not really doing any sit-down work at all and just learning from experience. We as a family, as husband and wife, are still a little bit pulled into the system, if you will. We still feel, got to do maths, got to do English, got to get that done. As right as wrong as that is, we would love to fully unschool, but there's that inside of us too. So this is about your mindset of the parents, not just the kids as well. So our weekly rhythm. So we have sort of 2 styles of this. We will have the touristy, what you think of as world school, and we will have that in-day, normal, regular home education day. So our 1 day a week where we do our tourist thing, we do that just once because budget, right? It costs money to do the tourist thing, and we're here to have this lifestyle for as long as we can. So we've got to be on a budget. So our touristy day might look like going to a temple, spending the day there, and then coming back and the next day delving into that a little bit more. What did we see? What did you like about it? And do a little project. We have these books that are blank at the top and big lines at the bottom, so they can draw and write. They're ideal for something like this. And that's basically how we would go about a tourist day learning and build a project on that. So it won't just be for a day, we'll write about that. That might go on for a while. The rest of the days are the normal days, they're the in days, and that's what I showed on that video. So this was pretty much a lot of desk work, working on computer, working on apps, learning more maths and writing and spelling and all the typical things, right? But we try and incorporate some fun in that too, and discussions. It's not all just boring sit-down stuff. But my girls, especially my eldest, who is undiagnosed neurodivergent, it's quite a challenge to get her to sit down, and that's what we found in that video. When we have days that don't go to plan, like yesterday on that video, we don't beat ourselves up. We don't think, oh, we've lost time, they've not learned. When kids are in school, 9 till 3, right? they're not going to fully learn in those 6 hours. At least we know what they're taking in. You know, your kids go to school, you don't know what they're taking in. That I'm not patronising anyone or anything like that. I'm just saying. So at least we know what they are taking in. And how we counteract that, counterbalance that is we'll do work at night, you know, and I know kids do homework, but we'll do work at night and into weekends. We won't necessarily stop for weeks, you know, like taking holiday breaks. We won't necessarily do that. It's all mashed in. Like this is a relaxed lifestyle, so we don't feel like we need to take a break for a holiday. So if it looks to you, if you watch that video and it looks to you that, oh, well, they've not done a lot, bear in mind, we will work at night, we will work over weekends, and we won't necessarily take weeks off either. And then there's meetups as well. So in the last place we were, there were a lot of meetups in Penang, 3 times a week. So there is that as well. And here there are a couple of families in this complex that we've met up with. So there are meetups, and we usually, if we're in a place that has a lot of meetups, the meetups will take priority, and then we'll do the other work around that. The day to day then, so like I said, with the tourist side of things, the touristy day, we'll have a project and it'll go in a book. Or something we've been doing is a travel magazine. So I've set up a Canva. I have a Canva anyway for being on here. And we've got a Word document, write in the Word document, transfer that over to Canva as a magazine style, so 2 columns with our own pictures in it, and then we can give that to family and friends. And it's a keepsake for us as a family and what we're doing, but it's also a record of what they're doing from an education point as well and what they're learning. So admittedly, I've helped Jasmine with that a lot, but I'm trying to get her to use the tech. So, you know, that alone is culture, typing, using tech, copy and pasting, using a program like Canva. There's so much learning just from that one project alone, right? And the non-touristy things would be things like movement breaks. We would incorporate that, read, write, and create stuff. My ethos for the in days is to try and cover mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. So, as what it is, your mental, read, write, physical, some form of exercise. We have a swimming pool here, so they're in that pretty much every day. We walk a lot too. Mental, physical, emotional. So we always talk, as I'm a mindfulness teacher, we always talk about emotions. It comes up throughout the day. It's not let's sit down and talk about emotions. We always talk about that. And we also have the 4 bedtime questions at night, which cover that. I've done a video on that if you want to go and see that and you can use it too. So that's mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. So I feel it's spiritual is something that isn't often taught in schools unless it's a faith school. But spiritual to me is things like mindfulness, is things like compassion to others, what's inside of you, what's your passion, what do you love about world and life, and you know, start to introduce the big life questions. And how we document this, so we try and document sort of daily or weekly, and then annually in England, we are expected to give an annual report. So I do that and have been for every year since we've been doing this. There are also apps that you can use which document your progress. We only use 2. We use a paid one, Reading Eggs, and a free one, Khan Academy Kids. That's reading and writing and all that things, phonics and things like that. I have recently come across the Journal app. I don't know if it's specifically for iPhone, but I've come across it. And I'm starting to use that, and it's quite good because you can put pictures in it and then write on it like a journal. And then I thought, oh, I don't just want everything on an app. Can it be exported? So I've done some digging, and you can get it out to a PDF and then email it. Just have to not put a lot of pictures on at once to do that. So we're just learning that, and because obviously we can't carry a lot of books around with us, so a lot of it does have to be electronic, and it's just about backing it all up, really, making sure there's multiple places where you're saving it. So one way of saving it is email. So I've set the girls up with their own email, and so for things like reports, I'll send that to them, and they've got their own copy and for reference too. Okay, so let's move on to the realities that people don't often talk about. Budget. So, budget is a thing, but we do have to talk about it. You know, back in England, we used to budget £200 a month for home education stuff, and that would be mostly to factor in the meetups. We lived in Cumbria, quite a big county, and sometimes the meetups can be quite far away. So it would be petrol, it would be eating out if you were at a cafe or something. That's basically what that budget covered. The APRID and eggs we pay annually, so it's not like a monthly thing. And it would also cover any stationery and bits and pieces like that. So for here, we don't really have a separate budget. We have an activities budget because when we're doing activities, you can often get some learning from that. So we've just put that in that pot and we'll budget £400 for activities. And like I say, that's things like we have a separate eating out budget, so it's not for that, but it would be for actual activities. So doing the touristy thing once a week and anything left over to buy some bits of stationery, but not masses. So I touched on that just then. Less equipment. This is a factor. We don't have the equipment we used to have. We had an amazing pod in our garden, and it was fully kitted out. Had everything. We could make a mess in there. Play-Doh, paints, a big flip chart, big whiteboard. Oh, it was brilliant. I was really sad to get rid of all that. So we don't have that, but we are slow travelling, and in the next place, hopefully we can stay there 3 months, and we're just going to stay in that one spot for 3 months. We don't intend to move around in that country. We're going to a place that does have a lot of home education, world schooling communities, meetups and stuff like that. So we're going to stay there for the full 3 months. So we will be able to buy, a whiteboard and those kind of things. But it is a minimum. We do have to keep that to a minimum, and can be challenging. And tech and logistics. So in this place we're at the minute, we don't actually have internet here in our room. So we are hotspotting. There's internet by the pool, but not in the room. So hotspotting can be, if you've ever done it, it can be quite hit and miss. And the other day, when I was filming, of course, it did keep dropping out. And that, for us, that disconnect of literally disconnecting from the internet meant disconnecting from the girls. That was it. That was their cue to go and play. And I had to drag them back down again. So yeah, tech and logistics, it just goes with it. That's something now that we will really strongly look for good internet to help. But we don't do that much on the laptops and the apps, to be honest. So siblings, the age gap is 4 years, and working with a different age gap is quite hard. So we've played about with this as parents, and we've pulled them apart to teach them. We've tried to do, I'll do morning, he'll do afternoon, that kind of thing. And we're just trying to work out a rhythm still as to what works. Ideally, we'd split them up, just so that they can get full on one-to-one attention. It helps with Jasmine, and then that benefits Sage too. But it is something to factor in. Neurodivergence has its own thing. I think I'll probably do a separate video on that, so I'm not going to delve into that. Parental load. That's something maybe people don't talk about. The demand of all this on the parents. Now, at the minute, we don't have an online business. We both have YouTubes. Me and my husband, Richard, we both have YouTube. So that's sort of what we're doing. But other than that, we don't have anything else to add to the mix. So we are fully with them, both of us, and it's hard going. And the key is to communicate what you need, communicate to the kids as well, not just us, what's going on, how you're feeling, do you need a break, do you need a day off, and we do that. We'll give each other the space we need. And I think that's a learning in itself for your kids, learning to see how your parents can accommodate themselves and regulate themselves and take themselves away when they need to, and then when they're back, they're fully back and in it. So unexpected learning. Again, there's probably topics in here that I want to delve into and give it its justice. But, culture, that's big for world schooling. Just one point here is, while we're here in Malaysia, is toilets. So I've been here before, it was 20 years ago, and I completely forgot about the toilets to give the kids a heads up. And so basically, they'll have the sit-on toilet, but they'll also have the one in the ground. And then they don't often have toilet paper in there. So they'll use, it's like a bidet, but it's a hose. I don't actually know how it works. If there's any Malaysians out there, please do say in the comments, because if you're washing yourself instead of using toilet paper, you must have to carry a towel around with you. And let's get to the gritty here. What if it's the time of the month? Like, I just don't get it. So there was that big culture shock. Religion, here in Malaysia, lots of religions. We have the call to prayer 5 times a day. We're not religious, so we haven't done religion in our home education. And so we knew this would be a big topic for us when we came here. So it is one of the things we've already covered when we were in Penang, actually. Ethics. Now, this is one I'm going to come into. Ethics of the stuff you see, specifically around animals and, tourism, going to see the animal places. We saw some things that didn't sit right with us as parents, as adults, and we decided to bring it up with the kids and just have a conversation around it. So I will dive more into that, but yeah, around animal tourism and cruelty and things like that is something, a lesson in itself, right? Friendships. So we've got friends here now. We've made friends with some families. The girls have made a really good friend, and she's even had a sleepover, and she's besotted with her. Like, my eldest is besotted with her, and it's getting quite obsessive. It's all the time. So we have had to have conversations about friendships, about boundaries. Again, with the neurodivergence, she doesn't really always see other people's emotions. And so that brings a conversation about. And the questions that we often get asked, the world schooling or home education in general, a lot of people, what about socialisation? Well, I've just said there, she's made a really good friend. Back in Penang, there was a really good world schooling community. So she got involved, or they both got involved there and made some friends. There's no problem meeting friends here. As with home education, you just have to put yourself out there and go to the groups, go to the meets. The issue arises, I believe, we're not been here long enough. We'll see, because we're leaving here next week. So having met a friend that she's got really close with, and then pulling that apart, that's difficult. But we're quite good people, adults ourselves, who try and keep in touch with people. So we will try and pass that down to them. She's got a very good friend at home, and we do video calls with them. And like I say, they've got their own email, so they've been emailing each other as well. So that's something she'll just carry on with these other friends as she meets as well. And, we're still figuring all this out. We've only been going 3 months. We're moving on to our next destination next week. We're still figuring it out, and we're enjoying it. That's the main thing. We're all enjoying it. We're all benefiting from it. And, the things that we've learned and we're going to take forward to the next place is, as a family, we do need that community. We do need that world schooling meetups. We need that, because when we first got here, we felt it. Here being Langkawi, there isn't any formal meetups here, so it wasn't until we met some families in this condo that we actually got that sense of that feeling again. So the world schooling community is something we need, but it's different to the hubs. So you can get world schooling hubs, they're paid for, and they'll put on formal education. So obviously that costs, and that eats into your budget, which is why we are doing world schooling meetups rather than the hubs. So we communicate and reflect often. And so what could work one week might be completely different and we'll change it the next because it stopped working. So we have the fluidity in that, and we communicate and reflect that often between our girls and each other. I've mentioned this, time out is needed. So whether that's scheduled in or whether it's again ad hoc, I need time out, I need a day off, my head's mashed, listening to each other and just to refocus when you need to. So they're the things we've learned going forward to the next place. So this has been our insight. There's no right or wrong. I hope you've understood a little bit more about world schooling. If you've got any questions, drop them down. I'll answer them best I can. Like I say, we've been home educating a while, but we've only been world schooling for 3 months. Do check out that video, Day in the Life of a World Schooling Mum. It didn't go to plan. It wasn't perfect, but none of this is this thing we call life, right? So what do you think of world schooling? Could you do it? Is it not for you? Let me know in the comments too. Thanks for watching. Much love. Bye for now.